nominated to head the Office of Legal Counsel. Hampton Dellinger, Office of Legal Counsel. Elizabeth Prelogger, serve as nation's next Solicitor General. All of them eminently qualified, deep experience and strong credentials, and they understand the importance of DOJ independence. Let me say a few words about them. Matt Olson dedicated the bulk of his career to helping keep our nation safe and will continue to do the same thing as Assistant Attorney General for National Security. From his time in the Justice Department to his work at the National Security Agency to his tenure as the confirmed director of the National Counterterrorism Center, he has been a leader when it comes to security in America. Chris Schrader, nominated to head the Justice Department's Office of Legal Counsel, or OLC. Significant experience, including serving as counselor to the Assistant Attorney General and as Deputy Assistant himself at OLC. Deep understanding of the office and ready to provide the kind of skill and experience we need. Hampton Dellinger, nominated to serve as Assistant AG for the Office of Legal Policy. Bipartisan support in our committee, decades of public and private service. He oversaw the judicial vetting process for state judges in North Carolina. I'm confident he will enable the Department of Justice to continue its track record of processing President Biden's highly qualified nominees. Elizabeth Prelogger, nominated to be the U.S. Solicitor General. Accomplished appellate advocate, argued 9 cases before the Supreme Court, filed hundreds of amicus briefs and other petitions. She knows this job, and she knows it well, and it's time that she is given this opportunity to serve. Let me conclude by saying, Mr. President, these nominees are the kind of experienced people we need. We have good nominees for the court as well, and I ask that my statement be put in the record in its entirety to describe each and every one of them currently pending before the United States Senate.
Without objection.
I yield the floor.
Mr. President.
The senator from New Jersey.
Thank you, Mr. President. I first want to say before my colleague, I know he's got a packed day, but when I came to the United States Senate, I found a friend, I found a mentor, and I found a leader on issues of justice. The incredible friend I have in the Senator from Illinois, he has been leading on issues from immigration reform and fighting for dreamers all the way to being the principal leader for the Democratic side for the passage of the First Step Act. I'll never forget he inviting me to the White House in my earliest days with then President Obama, centering me on that table. I had just gotten here, and he then was talking about these issues, the issues of mass incarceration, the issues of racial discrimination and incarceration. And this, what I rise to talk about, really is an issue that my colleague has been dealing with for 35 years. He gave important history. It was a bipartisan issue. 35 years ago, when the Senate and the House of Representatives voted to pass the Anti-Drug Abuse Act of 1986, and the president signed it into law that year. He said very specifically, one of the things did was create a massive sentencing disparity between crack and powder cocaine. The bill made it so that 5 grams of crack cocaine, the example that my colleague gave, carried the same mandatory minimum prison sentence as 500 grams of powder cocaine, that 101 disparity. And what is very powerful to me is what Maya Angelou says. She says, do the best you can until you know better. Then when you know better, do better. And that is the leadership of Senator Dick Durbin. Understanding that this was a failure, that the policy did not achieve its intended purpose. In fact, it created, as he described, the opposite. Dick Durbin then led this body towards the long process of making reforms happen. I was proud that when I got into the Senate, Senator Durbin told me the story of how we got it from 100 to 1 down to 18 to 1. It wasn't necessarily based on science, wasn't necessarily based on law enforcement evidence. It was a negotiation between Senator Durbin and another Republican colleague, and I love the story because Senator Durbin pushed for what we are asking for right now. He then fought for 1 to 1. Couldn't get it, but was able to negotiate down from 101 to 18 to 1. And so what I'd like to do is read real quick the research that looked at cocaine use in the United States from right before this bill was first passed up until 2013. And I want to quote, despite harsher ADAA penalties for crack compared to powder cocaine, there was no decrease in crack use following the implementation of these sentencing policies. Although both powder cocaine use and the misuse of prescription drugs, the negative control decreased. The report concluded that the findings suggest that mandatory minimum sentencing may not be an effective method of deterring cocaine use. This has been the growing consensus about the war on drugs on both sides of the aisle. It has been one that has been changing policy. I'm so grateful for Senator Durbin's work chipping away at the mistakes that were made during the time between when I was in law school in the 1990s and mayor of the largest city in my state in 2006. We saw the prison population explode in this country. Between that period, we were building a new prison or jail about 1 every 10 days. We became the place on the planet Earth with the most incarcerated people. 1/3 of all the women incarcerated on the planet Earth are now in the United States of America. 1 out of every 4 incarcerated people, period, in the United States of America. And a growing consensus of bipartisan work led by Senator Durbin with his wingman from Jersey has been beginning to undermine that with our partners. And so we saw the 2018 passage of the First Step Act, a bill which was made retroactive, and we saw thousands of people liberated from federal prison who were unjustly sentenced under that 1986 law. The bill Senator Durbin and I wrote and introduced, the Equal Act. This is, again, Senator Durbin's leadership. What is now our opportunity to do better. And it must feel good for everyone that understands the good intentions but disastrous results of the crack cocaine, powder cocaine disparity. For all those who understand that we say equal justice under law, but the disproportionate impact it's had on black and brown communities, further punishing African American communities in a disproportionate way. In fact, incarcerating black men at rates that we now have more black men under criminal supervision in America than all the slaves in 1850. And so we're working to do better. The bill that I picked up to partner with Senator Durbin on passed the House of Representatives. And Senator Durbin hinted to this. I would have never expected it. It passed with overwhelming bipartisan support. The bill was championed by Democrats and Republicans. It passed with 149 Republicans voting for it, and now it's over here. And the great thing is, our list of co-sponsors, which Senator Durbin read, it's growing. I think we'll have an announcement over the next few days of other Republicans joining this bill. We can't change the past, but we can make for a better future. We can't undo the disparities that have disproportionately sent African Americans to prison, but we can make for a more equal and more just future. There's an old saying that the arc of the moral universe is long, but it bends towards justice. It was a Martin Luther King quote, but he also said, change does not roll in on the wheels of inevitability. It must be carried in on the backs of people that are willing to struggle for it. People who still believe that this nation can be a symbol to this world about justice in its justice system. A terrible mistake was made 35 years ago. I was a teenager. There are people right now unjustly incarcerated, an affront to our most sacred ideal in this country, that of liberty. They are there because of this mistake. We have not fixed it. It was grievous. We have not fixed it. It is wrong. This is our moment. It is a moment of redemption. to right past wrongs, to set this nation on a more just course, to bend the arc of the moral universe more towards justice. I urge my colleagues to support this bill. I urge them to be arc benders. Together, we can make this a more perfect union. Thank you, Mr. President.